go ahead and kind of go around and just pick somebody and then we can do it. That would be great.
Absolutely. First, I just want to say welcome to everybody that's joining us today for our Responders Unite workshop. This is an opportunity where we really want to hear your voice. In fact, all our workshops are an opportunity to have your voice heard, whether you're a service agency, service provider, or a family, because that's what it's all about, is bridging those gaps. I'm Bernadette Smith, Director of Community and Corporate Outreach. I'm a mom of autism. I love what I do. Bringing everybody's resources to our families is what it's all about. And I will choose Mr. Schomer to go next, because you're the next one on my screen to introduce yourself.
Well, good evening, everyone. Ed Schomer. I love this. We got to see your daughter. We're getting to talk about Landon. So it's so family inclusive tonight. This is awesome. I am with Arizona Early Intervention Program. We are under the Department of Economic Security, so we are directly under the director of the office. And if anyone wants to learn more about AZIP, by all means, I'm raring to go. I did my first presentation for AZIP on Monday, solo. So, hey, let's learn more about AZIP. Okay, talk to you soon.
Okay, let's have Miss Mary. We can't hear you if you're muted, Miss Mary.
Alrighty. My name is Mary. I'm the current chairperson of Westside Head Start over here in Peoria, all this side of town. I don't know what else to say.
That's just perfect. That's perfect. Thank you for joining us. Welcome, Miss DeAndrea.
Hi, my name is DeAndrea. Hi, everyone. I am from the Scylla Comfort Center. I am the resident coordinator, and we are a faith-based organization that works with families, children, and women that have been affected by abuse.
Thank you.
Thank you. Miss Carmen?
Hi, everybody. My first time here, and I'm so happy to be here. I'm hearing good things to learn about, these. And I'm a specialist in the Southwest region with a home visitation program, and I work for Association for Supportive Childcare. And I have a lot of participants who are the FFM providers, who taking care of other kids other than their own kids, from the ages 0 to 5. So as a resource, this is what I like it when I see Ed. I want to know more, because I do have families who need referrals, and yeah, it's a wonderful opportunity for me, and I'm happy to be here. Thank you for, I got a connection through another partner. So yes, I'm here today. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Carmen. We're excited to actually have you, because I've been meaning to reach out to ASC. So thank you for joining us. Let's see here, Jeff Turney.
Hello, everyone. My name is Jeff Turney, and I am a just retired a weekend Glendale Police Sergeant. So I was out on the street for the last 20 years, and I work with a lot of nonprofits, and I was invited today as a guest to see what you guys were all about and see if I can help you out any.
Thank you so much for everything that you do to support all of our communities. We appreciate you. Thank you for your service.
Thank you for coming. We're happy you're here.
Yes. I have, okay, and then I have Mr. Samuel Pena.
Good afternoon, good evening, everybody. And I don't know what to say. I'm a father of a beautiful, soon-to-be 14-year-old teenage boy, Joshua, and glad to, in the past, I've joined some seminars before and some meetings before, so glad to be back. And I also, I'm not retired like Officer Turney, but I also work with the City of Glendale in the Office of Economic Development.
Thank you for everything you do. Okay, if I missed anybody, please give us a holler, or maybe do a reaction, raise your hand, because I think that's just...
Ebony Atkinson, did we get her?
Ebony.
Miss Ebony.
Hello, everyone.
There you
yes.
are.
My name is Ebony Atkinson. I'm the Adult Behavioral Health Advocate for the Department of Developmental Disabilities, and I will put my information in the chat box.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Absolutely. Cricket, go ahead. The floor is yours. I don't know if you have a presentation. And just real quick before we get started, it might be, I don't know if you want everyone to turn off their cameras and mute themselves for a smoother stream. And if you'd like to put your information in the chat box, to whether it's to receive information on future presents, because we do have them weekly, or if you would like to share your information as a resource with others, we would love to have that information and connect with you.
Bernadette, can you guys see this presentation that I just pulled up? Okay, perfect. Okay, well, welcome back, everybody. Many of you already sat through kind of the first couple of steps of our program from last time, a month ago, and we started talking a little bit about crisis intervention, our Responders Unite training program. And from that time till now, we've actually done so many different things. So I want to share and get you kind of caught up with what this program is doing. As you know, with Sounds of Autism, over the last 8 months, we've developed over 16 programs, and it takes our families from prenatal until the final farewell of life. So we don't only help navigate the journey for our families and help support them through all the different milestones, but we also help them prepare so that as mom and dad are, kind of at the last journey of their, or last end of their journey, they're still offering their kids the best and most planned out end for their life as well. I know that's one of the concerns every parent has with a special needs child is what's going to happen when I'm gone. And we definitely don't want people to worry about that. So that's something that we're focused on. We have a big compassion for. I really, building this program for the last 10 years, I've really focused on this starting out as something for me personally was we always serve our faith first, which is we're a very Catholic family, Christian family, but we don't push that on anybody because we don't ever want to lose an audience member because of something that maybe they don't believe in. So we're very, I guess, neutral when it comes to that type of stuff. But for us, that's what worked in many times with having a son with autism and some of the things that we've gone through, and my husband being a police officer, sometimes that's the only thing we do have. So, it's faith, family, friends, which is all of you here. And financial is number 4. And it's probably the reason that we haven't grown as fast as many people would expect, but it's not the most important thing. We built this program so that it really can be a sustainable solution for families all over the world. And we're starting to really see an attraction to this because of the amount of stuff that we have kind of planned out already. And because of that, we're now ready to begin the financial piece of it. And I'll be honest, it's really scary for me because it's not my favorite thing. I wish I could do this and not even have to worry about this part, but unfortunately for us to grow, that's not doable. So we're just going to take it really slow, and we're going to make sure that it's strategic and there's a method to it, and we just really stay humbled through this process. And always remember to thank, those that have supported us. So welcome to Sounds of Autism Responders Unite. This is a program to introduce crisis intervention training and awareness to our community, to our law enforcement, and to the at-risk population, not just autism, but all at-risk populations. This program was designed after the Buckeye incident in 2017 when Connor was detained by an officer who thought that maybe Connor was on drugs. And because the training with a lot of law enforcement, there's so many things, so many components that they're trained on, that autism is just one of those, many things that they have to learn. And so because of that, this officer was not trained the way that he really needed to be successful in the encounter, and Connor as well. And so when mom reached out to me and said, we need a solution, and we would like to have this, law enforcement to be trained. I really believe that in the vision, it was more of, officers had the full responsibility. And I see that so often that when you train people, a lot of times you put the onus on everybody. But I grew up in the industry of a restaurant where there's a lot of moving parts, and one area of that business causes everybody else to fail if we fail. And so it has to be a community, and it has to be community effort. And that's why we say responders unite. We're unified. We want to be a unified front where everybody works together. And if we fail, we all fail. And if we succeed, we all succeed. And that's why we don't say certified. That's why we don't say, the master of, nothing like that. We always say unified, because I believe that when you're truly a team, and especially in crisis, the only thing you think about is that thing on the inside that tells you go help that person or go help that community, and you don't think about anything else. Maybe later down the road, looking back, you do, but during that moment, in the heat of that moment, and I know Jeff Turney, I mean, he's an amazing person. There's so many stories I could tell you about this man, but he's done some really awesome unconditional things for many people in our community, especially the veterans. And I really want him to see what we're doing, because I believe that many things that he encounters with the veterans, which I consider sometimes an at-risk population, is very comparable to what we deal with on our end with being a parent of autism. And I really believe that eventually these two populations will cross over and support one another. And some of this PTSD and some of the things that are happening with both populations could really be a united front. I believe that when you are in crisis and you have to become the leader with no choice, sometimes you actually become better through crisis because you have no choice. And so that's what we really push Landon when he's going through those moments of breakdown and things that he deals with. We really push for him to, kind of take the lead on it and start teaching us what he's going through. And through that, takes his mind off of it, and he's very successful. So recap of the last meeting, we talked about our Sounds of Autism program and the 16 different programs, all divided into 4 different phases. In the first phase that we're on right now, which is phase 1, step 1 is unifying a community. So that means we go in, we speak to the mayor or their council, we get their permission and their blessing to do this community unification because they're the leaders. We want to have respect. We go in and talk to the chief of police or the assistant chief of police, and we ask them for their blessing as well. We show them what we're doing. Hopefully they join us. And to be honest with you, out of the 12 cities, I think 11 of them joined us so far and are on board. Actually, Glendale was chief of Glendale police just reached out this morning and said he's 100% on board. He loves what we're doing. We have a training and surprise this week with our law enforcement. We're training the first of 150 law enforcement at surprise. So we're starting with the first group, which is their crisis intervention team and some of those people that are around SRO and CAO. And we're also teaching tomorrow the at-risk population in a VIP invite-only event at the El Mirage Police Department. And the chief got behind us as well. He remembers us starting this when he was in Goodyear. So we have a lot of positives. We did write for AZ Post. And they said all we need is a referral letter from somebody in law enforcement stating that this program is valuable and it should be trained in AZ Post. And if that happens, then we're going to look at going to the academies to start this out with the, we call them the booters, but the beginning stages of somebody going into law enforcement. We serve the ACRE community, so that's autism or at-risk, community leaders, responders, and educators. We feel that those are the 4 layers that are very super important for the at-risk population to be successful in our community. If the educators don't do a good job, mom may pull them out and homeschool them. That may be good, that may not be good. And if these kids don't get the help they need, they're gonna go out in the community, and then the community is gonna start calling the police because they might not be doing the things they're supposed to, and then a responder responds. So we know that we have to educate everybody because we all have to be prepared. We talked about our Core 4 survival programs. So we talk about 0 to 5 early intervention and how important it is. 90% 90% of the child's brain is developed within that first 5 years. So everything we do, boots on the ground, all of our Maricopa community colleges, students going out and taking their delegated community and really making an impact by finding these families through all the people that provide resources for these families. And that will start in August. We'll be working with all Maricopa community colleges as we launch this throughout the state of Arizona. We're also teaching and educating community leaders with mental and behavioral health solutions. At-risk families are also joining us, and we have people all over the world. I have people in Canada that are calling and asking, how do we get your program in Canada? I'm like, well, we need to do it in the West Valley of Arizona first before we can move forward. So we're really pushing because you know, there's a lot of people asking, which is super exciting. We train crisis intervention. Tonight is about the community. I tell a little story. We bring people on. A mom was on the first week we did this, and she talked about her daughter being lured out of the Glendale home that she lives in at 3:30 in the morning. The daughter had autism, climbed over the 6-foot fence, got into an Uber, took all of her technology, no charging cords, and off she went, and they haven't seen her in a year and a half. Mom believes today she was sex trafficked. And she shared with us a list of different social media platforms that you definitely need to pay attention to with your children. And so I can send that out if you have a need, and we'll put that on our website as well. And then we talk about the at-risk population, especially autism, because sometimes people miss the diagnosis of autism and they're just diagnosed as at risk, ADHD, mental and behavioral health, different things like that, and they miss the autism signs. So as we go out and we educate, we're finding a lot of these people realizing that not only do they have ADHD or some type of issue, but they also have the autism on top of it. And they ask the first question, what do I do to get help? And that's where all of you come in. And so with that, we use the acronym SPECTRUM since 2012. SPECT is the 5 steps to become RUM, Responders United to Make a Difference. And the last time we talked about the reason that the stop sign has to be your trigger. It has to be the thing when you're driving to work and you're in responder mode where you're just going to work and you're not thinking about, oh my gosh, did I stop at that stoplight? Oh my gosh, you know, what's going on in my life? And you're not seeing everything that's going on around you. We want you to see that stop sign and change that behavior. And your thought process now is being aware and alert to see the signs of autism or see the signs of the at-risk population, and really being a support person, if nothing else, just offering your unconditional love to them and you know, and really doing the best you can to help support them. We also talked about patience, the importance of patience, and especially with those in the at-risk population that are either dealing with mental health issues or they have a processing delay. My son has a processing delay. When I ask him a question, it takes him moments to answer, and sometimes longer. Sometimes he'll revisit it 3 or 4 times in weeks. So, you know, the processing delay is a big issue, and this is the concern that I have for families, is many of these kids have this thing called an elopement phase, where they try to break out of their homes, and we don't know why they do it, but even if they're 2 years old and you put deadbolt locks, they figure it out. They're escape artists. And when they get out, they run to water. We don't know why. So we tell the parents, be aware of these things, be aware of predatorial situations, be aware of the processing delay, because these kids a lot of times don't realize they're in trouble until they're in trouble. And we teach law enforcement, first responders, all of them about this processing delay, because we know how important it is that everybody's aware of it. And tonight we talk about education, compassion, and trust. And when we're done with those 3 categories, you are then what we call a responder united to make a difference, meaning unconditionally, whether you're just going to be there to support or you're going to be there to help or to volunteer, we just need everybody to be aware of what's going on in your world around you and how you can help support that. I think of Landon when he was turning 15 and he started showing signs of puberty, and he was doing rituals in the bathroom. And I didn't really understand. I just referred to it as a ritual because of the way that he was doing things. Every time he took a bite of food, he ran upstairs and he did a ritual, and it'd take hours, sometimes 2 hours, 3 hours. It got to a point by the end of the summer, it was 24 hours and Landon wasn't able to eat, and he was losing weight left and right. And he got down to probably under 100 pounds, but he was, you know, 5'8", 5'9" at the time, thin as can be. And it was really scary because he started talking to people that weren't there. He was definitely showing signs of mental health issues. And with my husband being a law enforcement agent, and because we know some of the people that go to these different places, these mental health institutions, it was really hard for us to trust that Landon was going to be going to the right place. So emotionally, as a parent, we didn't respond right away. I shared my story. I told the story every day of what I was going through, and I shared it on Facebook because I wanted people to hear it. I wanted them to understand that I was broken, but telling my story just helped everybody else that was going through it, instead of keeping it quiet and hidden behind closed doors. And because of that, many people reached out privately and said, you need to take him to the hospital, it's time. And I finally made a decision when Landon had a breakdown and my husband started responding to me like I was the one that had the issue. And I said, honey, it's me, your wife. And he said, I know, but you have to acknowledge that we need to get help. And I said, you're right. And so we reached out and we were in crisis. And I know every family that has mental health in their family understands what I'm saying. You wait till the last minute because you're scared. You have all these things going through your mind. You don't want to make a mistake. You don't want to do the wrong thing. But what ends up happening is sometimes we push it so far to that last minute that that's when the police come in and they have to respond. And by that time, your kid does remind you that he's on drugs and alcohol, or he's suicidal or harm to somebody else, because you see this person that you don't know. And when our officers are responding, they meet that kid at the worst time in his life. And now mom's broken, dad's broken, everybody in the house is broken. We're all doing everything we can to keep it so that he doesn't have to go to this place. And now he's battling with himself and everybody else around him. And that's when we see all these bad stories that we're seeing on TV. And so our goal is to start at prenatal. We want to start educating families at the beginning, before they even have these kids. You know, if somebody had told me, I would have been so smart. I was so dumb. I was 6, 7, 8 years old. I was like, okay, what does autism even mean? I heard it 10 times, but I never wanted to look. I didn't want to know. I was on my own. I was a single mom. I was trying to do my best, juggling a job, juggling my kids, juggling everything. It was a lot of work. But when I read about it, it's even more scary. And I didn't know any of you. So there's not like I could make phone a friend, you know, I had nobody. And when those things happen, you feel alone. And then you're like, okay, now what do I do? And so when I dropped Landon off on his first day of school in the special needs class, it was really hard. Landon was so comfortable. It was like the environment he was supposed to be in. And he would wave goodbye to me and I would just cry all the way home. Oh my God, my baby. He's around all these kids that I remember growing up that went out of the classroom and you never saw them. And then they would come back and you were like, where did they go? And that's now my kid. But you know, I had some really great role models growing up that had to do those things. One of them, he was actually Matt Hughes's coach, the UFC fighter, Matt Hughes. I went to high school with that kid, Mark Fiore. And he was illiterate, he couldn't read. And he would have to go get help. But you know what? He made it look easy. And he always stayed focused on having friends. And he did such a good job. And because of that, he gave me my strength. And I shared that with him. I actually reached out on Facebook and told him that he did that for us. And it made it a lot easier as a mom. So I want to be able to be that same support for our families, because I know when you empower people, you see a different reaction. And that's really what we want. So with our Responders Unite, the topic tonight was really just about the puberty stage and from 9 years old all the way till Landon's still going through it, the stress and anxiety that occurs, just being aware of the different things that could potentially happen, the suicidal tendencies, the harm to other people. If you have guns in your house, hide those guns. You should do it anyway, but if you have them, especially during that time, make sure you hide them, because those are the things that we were worried about, is how long before Landon doesn't want to do this anymore. And when that day comes, I don't think he would know what to do, but I would never want to take my chance. So step 4 is compassion, and it's the reason that all of us would help support one another. We have 8 minutes and 56 seconds, but I'm going to tell you this really quick story about Jeff Turney. Jeff Turney and I met when I worked at Dave & Buster's in Glendale. And there was this man who he met along his way, and I'm going to tell the story completely wrong, but I'm going to make it up because I know at the end, this is exactly what he did. He got in his car and he drove this man to see his family because he was basically on his deathbed. And Jeff didn't want him to drive by himself, so he took it upon himself to drive this man all the way across, I think, to Florida, and brought this man to his family, and later, you know, he passed away. That's compassion. Doing something unconditionally because you want to help support somebody to do the right thing. And it's really not that difficult. I always say the people that struggle doing this are the ones that need to kind of work on themselves first. And we help with that as well. So, you know, we're here for everybody. And that's really what a unified community is. And so unconditional love and support is our mission. We want to love and support our families and the community, to share a compassionate story, you know, with everybody, to get them to want to help and be a part of this. Because I know many people may not want to help because they don't know that person standing on the corner that's homeless, or they may not want to help because that person's a veteran. They don't even know what to say or identify with that person. But the honest to God truth is, sometimes it's just having that conversation where they don't feel like they're alone, and they have a friendship, and they're not an outcast. When Landon did his last video with me, where they interviewed him, a girl from ASU, they asked him, Landon, how do you feel about Sounds of Autism? And he said, I think it's beautiful. And they said, why do you think it's beautiful? And he said, because you're trying to help autistic kids be normal. And I thought, wow, we didn't prepare for that question. That's what he got out of watching everything we do. So the last thing is trust, and it's the biggest piece of why we do what we do and the importance of what we do when we do it. And with officers, as you know, especially today, just watching the stuff going on TV and all those things, many people are influenced by that. They don't think for themselves. They allow people to think for them and make their decisions for them. And it's unfortunate, because to be honest with you, the people I know in this field, the majority of them, and I'm going to say every community has a bad, every community does. But the good ones, they eat at my dinner table, and they're more compassionate about people sometimes than the people that don't do that job. And they should probably be the worst because of everything that they're called and said and everything they do. So I say that because I know that Landon he always asks, Mom, why can't we just all get along? And that's the reality of it. And so we're very committed to this. There's a trust with autism families. We don't want people in our homes. Police officer families, we don't want people in our homes either. So in our house, we have 2 walls you have to break through. And we just want to make people aware of that and understand that you can 100% trust us, because we are here to do the right thing. We're here to make a difference. And the money that we raise, when we do raise it, it will be used for the right thing and for the right purpose. And it will always be used for the right thing and the right purpose. I am committed to that. My team is committed to that. And I think the community that surrounds us is committed to that. Responders Unite is really the first impression. What would happen if there's a lack of trust during an encounter with somebody, and especially during crisis? It's going to be a bad situation. It's going to end bad. And we really just want to make sure that everybody knows that if we practice the skills of being kind, and practice the skills of being aware and learning how to trust people a little bit more, and teaching this at-risk population and the officers how to work together so that they get to the result that's the positive result, or at least a result that's a safe result. I believe that not only will it change the at-risk population, it'll change all populations. It'll change all officers. The officers that helped us do our training, every single one of them on their debriefing testimonials said, this changed our lives. We learned to modify. We did a lot of things that we were unaware of, and now they know. And they shared that, and now we're sharing it with the whole world. Congratulations, you are now Responders United to make a difference. And we have 4 minutes. So if anybody would like to comment or add suggestions or whatever it may be, I would love to hear. And you can turn your cameras back on. I would love to see you too.
Cricket, if I could say something real quick.
Please.
Just, well, thank you for that kind words you said there. That was the right thing to do at the right time. That's all. But one of the things that some people don't realize is, at least in Glendale, I'm not sure about the other cities, is you can call a patrol supervisor to your house if you have a special needs child, and we can put an entry in the log to where if your address comes up on our screen, it can tell us that we have a special needs child in that house. And as we're responding to those houses, we already know what to expect and kind of prepare for it. That's something that I don't know if you're pushing that message out or not. I'm not completely versed with what you're all doing yet, but that's definitely a bonus for officers as they're responding in, to know what they're walking into before they get there. And we can also send our crisis intervention team officers to those calls just to make sure that that they are appropriately taken care of. So I just wanted to throw that out there.
I
You're on mute.
appreciate,
Oh, there
I
you are.
appreciate you saying that. We have many police departments that are starting to convert over to that, and we're encouraging the families to take advantage of that, understanding that there is an importance to that, because if you know what you're walking into, it's not a crisis anymore. It de-escalates. It's still critical, but this officer is educated now. He's walking in with education instead of walking in with, I don't know what I'm walking into. And it's a huge difference. You all know that if you were in that situation, it would be very difficult to walk into a room not knowing what you're walking into. If you knew somebody behind that door might have some type of issue, whether it's they're violent, they have, you know, violent tendencies, whatever it may be, it's a lot easier for you to approach it knowing, okay, I have to be on guard, and you have a game plan in your head. But when you don't know, it's like blindfolded. And I know that because I hear all of the end result stories that my husband brings home that we have to walk through before he goes to sleep. So I appreciate you letting us know that, and we will definitely learn more about that throughout the community.
Cricket, we have 2 minutes left, and I just want to say something very quickly, is to encourage all of the agencies here to encourage their families to do that, because a lot of families don't want to label their child, and what they don't understand is a label doesn't define who our children are. It helps them.
Thank you. I saw Melody joined us, and I know nobody got to meet her. Melody, hello. Melody's been with me since day one of starting this nonprofit organization. She works for BOK Financial, and BOK Financial team, Melody and Shirley, are working to put together a financial advocacy team for Sounds of Autism. I said, Mel, we haven't been ready. We're ready now. We have 16 programs we completed from beginning to end, and now we need help funding our program. And so her and Shirley joined us, and we're now interviewing people to join this team. And as I said, we have multiple people reaching out from Canada and Russia and all these different states and asking for this. And so we know this will go fast, but we want to make sure it's fast and methodical, and that we just, like I said, keep the result in mind and the goal in mind and the mission in mind, so that we don't get off track and go in a different direction and end up in a bad place. So I appreciate all you guys joining us tonight. If there's anybody else, I think we might have 30 seconds. I'd love to hear it. If not, you guys have a great night, and thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
Thank you.